The story of Jesus' spiritual journey. Jesus is just a normal guy. He grew up in Mexico and his family was reasonably wealthy, and he could afford to migrate to America legally, so he did. Currently he is 23 years old and is attending college in America. Anyway, one day he was hanging out with his friend Shupak, who he hadn't seen for a while. They were just enjoying some beers, and as their conversation progressed, Shupak mentioned that he visited India a few months ago, and that it was quite interesting touring it for a bit. Shupak even suggested to Jesus that he should maybe visit India someday. That piqued Jesus' interest, but it seemed a bit far off of an idea at the time, so they just continued their conversation, and Jesus forgot all about it. A few months passed, and Jesus' stay at college was coming to an end, and he was thinking about what to do after he finishes college. Suddenly, he remembered that Shupak told him to visit India. So he said to himself, you know what? After I'm done with these exams, I'm going to India for a month to relax after all this college business. And so the plan was made. Jesus finished up his exams and got his law degree, and now he could start making arrangements to go to India. He booked his flights online. First, he was going to Mumbai to stay there around a week or so, then to Chennai, where he also would spend a week, then to New Delhi, after that to Lucknow, and then back to America. A nicely planned trip as far as Jesus was concerned. So he went to the airport and embarked on his magical journey. He landed as planned in Mumbai and spent a week there. He went swimming in the Indian Ocean and found out that it's quite wavy. He liked calmer seas, so he didn't do much swimming. But overall, he had a nice time sampling local cuisine and visiting shrines, monuments, historical landmarks, and so on. Next, he went to Chennai and did much of the same he did in Mumbai. Next stop was New Delhi. He arrived in New Delhi at around 12 p.m., so he decided the best thing to do was to go to his hotel, sleep through the night, and start looking around when he wakes up. The next day comes and he starts exploring the big city of New Delhi. He strolled through the streets until he came by a Buddhist temple. He was intrigued by its design, so he decided to go in. As he entered, he noticed 3 monks bowing to an altar of Buddha. Suddenly, the middle monk gets up, turns around, and says, "So it is true that you would come." Of course, that confused the hell out of Jesus, since he didn't even have planned to visit a Buddhist temple, and now he's being expected to appear by monks. The monk approached Jesus and said, "We were not sure when you would arrive, but now that you have arrived, I have much to explain to you." Jesus, unsure as to why a monk needs to speak to him, but nonetheless very curious, listens to the monk. After the conversation with the monk, he goes back to the hotel and packs his bags to go visit Nepal. More accurately, Kathmandu. Even more accurately, the Kopan Buddhist monastery. Even though he was straying from his plan a lot, it seemed like Jesus didn't mind at all. He arrived there the next day, since they took a plane there. Jesus spent the rest of his vacation there. But when it was time to go home, on the plane from Lucknow he was nowhere to be found. And so passed weeks, then months, then even years. After 3 years at the Kopan monastery in Nepal, Jesus was a changed man. Now he realized his true purpose. During his 3 years at the monastery, he didn't tell anyone where he was or what he was doing. He was finally ready to go back to America, a changed man. He boarded a flight and arrived back to his flat. The first thing he did was call up Shupak, so that they could meet to talk. So Shupak and Jesus met again in a bar. They ordered some beers, and then Jesus started talking about his last 3 years. He told Shupak all of his stories and experiences from living in a Buddhist monastery. But Jesus left one thing out, and that is why he even went to live in a Buddhist monastery for 3 years, just out of the blue. So Shupak asked him why. So Jesus responded and said, "Because a Buddhist monk told me that I was Jesus." Are you fucking kidding me? So you're telling me you went to live in a monastery because a crazy old monk told you that you were Jesus? Like, Christianity's Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ? Said Shupak. Yes, said Hesus. I am the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. Shupak was pretty sure that Hesus lost his mind. Alright, Jesus, I'm gonna head out, so see you around, he said, going out of the bar. Man, poor guy. Lost his damn mind out there, Shupak thought to himself. After meeting with Shupak, Hesus was ready to start spreading the word that Jesus has been reincarnated. Firstly, he traveled to New York, went to Times Square, and was trying to get his message across, but everybody seemed to either ignore him or laugh at him. But he didn't stop because of the public's uninterest in what he was saying. Soon after starting to spread the word, he started realizing that he has special powers, and when he would pass a person in need or someone with a big medical problem, he would solve their problem with a touch. And this proof of his true divine nature started gathering people who actually believed him. So the next few months, more and more people were starting to believe him, and some even recorded the miracles he performed. For instance, when he made a blind man see. And in true internet fashion, this was immediately dismissed as fake. But more and more of these videos start to pop up over YouTube. Hesus was touring America and was a real sensation. He visited many cities in America, and after touring the country for a while, he went back to his place of residence in Los Angeles to meet with Shupak again. But this time he wanted to surprise Shupak, so he came to his house in Compton. But when Hesus arrived, there was a firefight in progress, with Shupak on one side of the firefight. But Hesus didn't get frightened, and stepped right in front of the gunfire. Now, in the middle of the gunfight, the bullets were racing towards Hesus. But he just stood there, not moving. As the bullets were about to hit, they instead hit a glorious shield of light that formed around him, and the bullets bounced right off and hit every one of the gunfighters straight in the head, killing them all. People who followed Hesus here because they wanted to be near the Son of God were filming the whole event. Now the bodies of these poor men lied there, motionless. Hesus went to the body of Shupak and said, "This is for you, bro." As he lunged his fist with mighty speed towards the air, 11 beams of light struck down upon the earth onto the bodies of the deceased gunfighters, and they rose up alive and confused, as they had just been resurrected by Hesus himself. All of this was filmed and seen from many angles from the nearly 50 people that were following Hesus. And now a large-scale movement was born as Hesus was seen as the true reincarnation of Jesus Christ. Now, alive and well, all Shupak said was, "Ow, you won," as they did a fist bump and started moving into the crowd that had formed from the followers of Hesus and mere passers-by, amazed by what had transpired here. And that was the story of Hesus's spiritual journey.